Okay, if you use dict of k and v, k equal to v, and that's going to create a dictionary with just one element. The entire k will be the key and the entire v will be the corresponding value for that key. But we want pairs, so what do we need to do first? Anybody? Press them? Print? Zip. You need to zip the two elements. Okay, zipping will take each pair and, you know. No, you don't need to print. I did the print before just to show the class what it contains. Okay, but you could print just to make sure what is in it. That would be for us to make sure that we are in the right path, but it's not required. Yeah, print is not required. So you have to zip first, and then you have to do the dictionary. And you don't have to. You can put everything in a single line of code. You don't have to do it one line. But sometimes it is useful to split them up into several lines. In case there is an error, then it is easier to debug, so you know where the error is. You can try one line at a time and see where the actual error occurs. So we need to zip first, right? So zip is just when you zip, we need zip of two collections. And since we're going to convert this into a dictionary, the first collection must be key. The second collection must be the corresponding value. So we need to zip k and v. So the first collection will give you the key, the second collection will give you the corresponding value, right? Now, if you wish, you can save this as an object and then use that object in your dict function, but that's not necessary. Now you can put this inside a dict. So you say dict of that, right? So is that good? Now that's going to first do the zipping, okay, and then it will do the dictionary. And you can, of course, if you leave it like this, it's going to create the dictionary and then throw it away, right? So you want to save it, say, like that. So now you see that the zip, the corresponding, the key comes from k and the value comes from v, and you have the dictionary. Okay. That good? Everybody? Everybody got it?
So you don't want to use key value zip? Because like earlier you did like key val zip equals zip kv. So you don't have to. Like the first time you zip it, you use key value zip.
Like here? Or even?
Like in the top.
Well, key value zip is just a name.
Oh, you just made that up?
I made that up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is what I was saying, though. You zip, right, and put it into an object.
Okay, so
And then I use the object in dict function to create the dictionary. But now in your turn, I put the two together in a single line. So I did not save the zipped object separately. That's not necessary. Okay. That clear, everybody? You could if you want, but you don't have to. So here, okay, yeah. So that creates the zipped object, and that zipped object is then fed into the dict function without an intermediate step of saving it. Okay. So if you take that and put it in a separate line, save it as an object, then you use that object in dict function. That will work too. That okay? Everybody? All right. Now add a new element to the dictionary with D as the key, then the list 15 comma 25 as the value. Okay. So now, so you're adding a new element. Okay, if the key is already there, then that value corresponding to the key that is already there will be replaced. But now this is the new key, and the dictionary already exists. Okay, so if the dictionary doesn't exist, then you're going to get an error. So since the dictionary already exists, so we can say dict1, right? And then what? What goes there? D, exactly. The key D, and that's a string D, right? And then set it equal to, that's a list. Okay, so lists are created with square brackets, 15 comma 25. So that will create a new element with D as the key and the list 15 comma 25 as the corresponding value. So print that, and you're going to see, so A, B, and C from before, and then the new item is added here at the end. Okay? Very good. Okay. Now, this one is okay. This one is a little more involved. The same dictionary. Iterate over the keys of the dictionary, okay, and find the grand sum of all elements in the values of the dictionary. Okay. Now, we know that all the values are numbers. Okay. They are all lists of numbers, and you want to add them all up. We want one grand sum. So obviously we need to iterate over the keys. Right? So we can, again, like what we did before, you can save the keys and then iterate over the keys, or you can directly iterate over the keys. So like if you take dict1 and keys, okay, that would be the collection of keys. Okay. So now if you say for k in, well, k is just a variable that I made up. You can use any, you can spell it out key, or you can use I or whatever that you want. Okay. So for k in the keys, and what should I have here at this point? Colon, right? So colon is what ends the function name, and it starts the block. Okay. Now we need the sum of the elements corresponding to with that key. So how can we get the sum of a list? A list of numbers now, of course, if these do not have all numbers, you'll get an error, but let's not worry about that for now because we know that they are all numbers. So how do you find the sum? So if you go back to the discussion on list, okay, see there are numerical functions. These are the built-in functions that are available from Python for lists. If a list contains only numerical values, then there are three functions that you have. You have sum, you have min, you have max. Right? So if you use sum that list, it's going to give you the sum of that list. Okay? So what we need to do here is say sum of what? Sum of dictionary 1. How do you need to now access the element for that key. How do you access an element in a dictionary? You give the dictionary name, square brackets, and the key. And we are iterating over the keys. So in each iteration, the key will be in which variable? In the iteration. So we are iterating over the keys. Right? So first time around, k will be equal to the first key, which is A. Second time around, it will be B, and so on. So if you use the key here like that, okay, so first time around, it will use A. So it will be dict1A, which is these two, this list. So that sum will give you the sum of the first list. Second time around, it will be B is the key. So it will sum of dict key. Now this key is now B, so it will take the second list and give you the sum, and so on. Now, of course, we want the grand sum, so we have to, every time we find the sum, we want to put it into a grand sum, right? So we have to go outside the for loop and set a grand total. Okay, so we start with, you initialize grand total equal to 0. Right? And then you accumulate into that. So do grand total. Okay, so what should I have here for the sum in each iteration to be accumulated into this container? What should I have here? What is the operator? We've done this before, right? It will be plus equal to. Plus equal to is the accumulation, right? So we do plus equal to. So what this is going to do is, okay, that function is going to create the dict.keys function. That's going to create all the keys. So you'll have a list of keys, collection of keys. So the for loop is going to iterate over each one of those keys. So for each key, the dict key is going to give you the value The sum is going to sum that value. So the first time around, it'll be like 10 plus 20 will be 30. Now 30 will be accumulated into the grand total. The first cycle grand total will be 30. Now second time around, now the key will be B, right? Then you get 2 comma 3 as the element. So 2 plus 3 is 5, and that is put into this container grand total, which already had 30 in it, so it'll be 35, and so on. Okay. And then finally, now let's print it. So backspace out, because we after finishing the for loop, you have to get out of the for loop code block, and then you print. We just, well, we don't have to even print, we just say grand total. It's going to give you the grand total.